Alright, finally, it is not frickin' balls ass hot, and I can, talk about a movie. Talking about things seen and heard. What movie is that? What? It's on Netflix? Well, of course it's probably shit. Yeah, so it's horror-esque kind of movie, and I just Amanda Seyfried's in it, and I feel bad for Amanda Seyfried because every time she's in like anything horror, thriller, whatever, that kind of stuff, she's always like, she's such a victim. Like her and Jennifer's Body, and then when she was in like that fucking the one with Kevin Bacon. I almost completely forgot the man's name. The one with Kevin Bacon, and then this one, So this things seen and heard, and everyone's joke about this movie is, I wish I didn't see or hear any of this, or like, well, there were things, and you did see it, and then you did hear it, which is true. That's exactly what this movie is. This takes place in the 80s. I don't know why it needed to be in the 80s, but it was in the 80s. Anyway, it takes place in the 80s. Amanda Seyfried is like a artist, art restorer. She does shit with art. And then she has a husband who looks like a sleazier version of Dennis from It's Always Sunny. I was like, ugh. And they have a kid, and then they go from, living in the big city of New York to going up, like upstate New York, and because the husband got like this job to be like, I saw this a couple days ago, and I'm like, what was the job? He's a teacher at like some school. Da da da. They move into a house. The house can be haunted. What? Is the house haunted? Here we go. So they also have a kid. Well, at least they have one kid. Which again, I think these movies they always do the whole there's one kid, because if there's like a second one, it's like, oh fuck, there was, what movie was it that I watched and I said these two kids could have been one, like these two people could have been one person. I mean, there's probably been several movies, especially in horror, where I was like, these characters could have been one person. But anyway, so Amanda Seyfried is like, oh my god, I think the house is haunted, da da da, because late at night, you know, when they're in bed, she's like, why do I smell like gas, like exhaust, And I'm like, oh, jeez, especially on the second floor, you're like, what the fuck? And then, the daughter is like under the covers, and she has like a clown, night light, because that's not scary at all. And then it would like flicker, and then it would just like, something would happen, and then and it's funny because it's like it's like the wife is like, feeling weird things, and the little like kid is like, oh mommy, mama, can I sleep with you guys tonight, like that kind of stuff. But like the entire time, like when these things would happen, like the husband's just trying to get a nut, like for real. He'll be like making out with Amanda Seyfried, and like ooh ooh, and all of a sudden like things will happen, and then he's like, oh my god, like the kid is like, can I sleep here tonight? And of course the mom is like, well, yeah, and he's like, like, dude, I'm just trying to get my nut in. Anyway, happens a couple of times, and of course the husband is like, I'm so frustrated, my penis, because there's one day where like Amanda Seyfried like comes home, and I guess like the husband is in the shower, and I think she's just kind of peeked in, and he's like jerking off in the shower, like you do when you're frustrated of things and stuff. And then of course, because he's a teacher, and like I said, he looks like a sleazy version of Dennis from It's Always Sunny. He's like in the library, and he hits on, what's her name, the girl who plays Nancy from Stranger Things, and immediately I'm like, oh gross, this is where we're going, with this. So of course you develop some kind of relationship with this young girl, because you're a grown-ass man and nasty, because there's like this scene, and like, ugh, she goes and like she like lays on her bed, but she like lays on it like, where you see her upside down this way, and she's like, if you're gonna come in, close the door. And I'm like, god, why am I always stuck watching these kind of movies? See, the cops are like, yo, we don't want this shit. Anyway, so yeah, of course, you know, like he's like there's also, like of course they fucked a couple of times because there's one where like she's just laying in bed, she's like like also like oh my god, and then he somehow was like fall like I don't know, he fell off the edge of the bed and he's there like oh my god you're so you know that kind of stuff and I'm just there like I don't want to watch this anymore. It's like this is really creepy and I'm not like it's not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. Oh God, you know, I'm just like so so like there's that. There's like oh blah blah blah. So okay, so that's most of like the movie. You know, most of the movie is just how of like oh, like, you know, oh my god, I think there's, like, a ghost in the house, oh my god. And then there's, like, fucking, like a young teen, you know, that kind of stuff happening. Then there's, like, what was it? Oh, then it's, like, oh, then there's things, like, where the movie, like, slowly unravels, you start learning about things, but you're not like, what? Oh my god. It's like, right? I mean, that's what I would have guessed. Sure. You know, like that kind of stuff. So, you know, like Amanda Seyfried learns that, you know, like people died in the house. Probably, as always, why you probably got the house, like, pretty cheap. I mean, they didn't really discuss that. Also, when the whole, like, things start unraveling and Amanda Seyfried starts learning more about, like, the history of the house, it's like, it just felt like Amityville, you know, where it's just like, there's spirits in the house, and you know, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so you learn that, like, the husband or whatever, like, someone gave sedatives to the family, turned on the car, da-da-da, did, like, a midsummer kind of thing, like, okay. Oh, also, because they're, like, living in, like, a house with, like, a chunk of land, these, like, again, young teen boys, are like, hey, we can do landscaping for you if you want, and they're like, sure, we'll give you $20 or whatever the fuck you did back in the day. And you learn that those young boys, like, they used to live in that fireworks. They used to. That was fireworks. They used to. Yes, I know it's fireworks. Hi. I know it's fireworks. Thank you. Anyway, those boys used to live in that house, and they were like the two surviving people of the murder. And I'm kind of like, then why would you go back and be like, you know, let me take care of the landscaping here. You know, the older one takes care of the landscape, all that stuff, and the younger one, like, kind of helps look after their kid, which is, it's cute. Like, on the surface level, like, oh, that's really cute and nice of them to do that, because you're like, young kids these days don't know how to, like, you know, but in fact, oh, also, like, you know it's going there because they show that the husband is, like, you know, fawning over this horse girl, you know, from Stranger Things, and then, you know, the wife is just upset that the husband doesn't, like, believe her, that she's, like, smelling the exhaust or all the stuff, the weird stuff that's happening that apparently only her and her child is experiencing because the husband just wants his nut in, you know. So then, because there's, like, the slightly older teen who does the landscaping, of course, Amanda Seyfried, who, you know, probably could still play a teen in all honesty. You know what I mean? Like, of course, then she has an affair with that guy. I'm just like, can we not? Like, God. Like, can this just be like a different kind of 80s movie, you know, where you're just doing coke, you know, just do coke, you know, it's the 80s, just do coke and vote for Reagan and all that stuff, you know, just be white, you know, like, so anyway, so that, you know, yeah, you learn that, like, they were the surviving members, like, what? And even Amanda Seyfried's character was like, why would they come back to this house? And it's like, I don't know, no one knows, that's what we're all asking. I'm like, why? You know, if I'm like, my family died in this home, bye, you know, oh, and then they were like, oh, let's have a party in the house for reasons. And is that where she learned more about the house? I don't know, man. Like, it doesn't matter, because it's not good. What else happens? Again, it's been a couple, again, it's like the last time, where it's like, I watch it, a day or two goes by, and then it's just gone. Oh, anyway, so, what's her name from Better Call Saul? That lady. She's in it. She's great. Oh, she's like very like you know, sus of the husband, because she's like, like, it ain't right, because like that woman, she runs into what's her name from Stranger Things. She's got on this cute scarf, and then what's her face from Better Call Saul does like weaving and all this stuff because that's what white women do. You know, they just weave things into like I've got a spindle at home because hipster, 1980s hipsters. Anyway, but she's like, oh, where'd you get that scarf? She's like, oh, like I just got like someone got it for me, and then she confronts the like Amanda Seyfried's husband and is like. It's like, oh, how'd your mom enjoy the scarf? And he was like, oh, she didn't like it. She said it was cheap, so, you know, and she's like, really? You could have just told me. So pretty much, like, he ordered a scarf, not for Amanda Seyfried, obviously not for his mother, but for his, like, little thing. And it's like, like, damn, dude. And again, it's a small town kind of thing. It's like, what? Did you not think this was gonna come back to you? Oh, there's one part where they take like a school trip back down to the city to the Met, and oh yeah, that's exactly what I thought. So when I was in art school, I had to do like a video thing by taking like a piece of art that we saw at the Met and then do like a 3-minute video. This movie literally feels like that assignment turned into an entire film, because there are times where they would like reference certain types of art and then try to do symbolism, that kind of stuff, but it was just kind of like, oh, okay, we're going like Da Vinci Code of like, we're gonna take this and then just bullshit something out, you know? Anyway, so they get to the Met, you know, they're looking at, you know, certain pieces of the Met, and I'm kind of like, yeah, it's been there, done that thousands of times, I know. And then, like an old colleague who knows, you know, Sleazy Dennis, and he's like, hey, so, how'd you get that job? And he was like, oh, you know, like, I got it, you know, and the guy was like, because you asked me to write you a recommendation letter, and I didn't do it. So how did you get the job? And you're kind of watching the movie like, what? You know, because you figure out, like, people died in the house. Okay, you know, okay, that explains the spirit thingy-majigger. Okay, allergies, really? It's, like, rainy out, and nose is still, I'm like a dog, Jesus. Yeah, so you're like, people died in the house. Then it's like, wait, besides the affair they're having, the husband also lied, forged a recommendation letter, and that's how he got the job. Like, it's like adding on top of one another, which again, it doesn't really further the plot. It just kind of like, again, things have happened, seen and heard. Like, well, at least thank you for this title, because we know literally things seen and heard have happened and stuff, and I think the full title is things seen and heard and happened and stuff and things, and here we go. I threw a bunch of shit in a blender, poured it onto, you know, celluloid, and here we go kind of stuff, you know? Oh, really, now it's a memory card. Haha, film jokes. Anyway, so, oh, that's how, what's her name from Better Call Saul, because she was a chaperone, she overheard it, and she's like, what happened at the Met today? Something, and then that's when she was all mad, you know, sus about it. Anyway, again, it doesn't matter, nothing makes sense with these movies. So, oh, and then, like, of course, Amanda Seyfried starts learning about it and all that stuff. Oh, and then one of the people at the school confronts Sleazy Dennis and is like, hey, pretty much like, you know, like, they were like, they kind of were like, I called so-and-so, and they don't recall ever writing this letter. And he's like, you know, he's like, I had to. I wrote the letter that I deserved. I was like, get the fuck out of here with that. I wrote the letter I deserved. Motherfucker, you know what, if that's the case, then I should write recommendation letters for myself all the time, and fuck, I should be working at places because of, you know, the letter I deserve. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. I wrote the letter I deserve, fucking sleazy ass Dennis, you know? Anyway, moving on further along with the movie, stuff and things, and then something happens, you know, oh, they like, I think that's when the party happens, and then, anyway, again, who cares about the timeline, just, you know, puzzle pieces falling, oh my god, the crumbling down, blah, 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 discovering things and stuff, so, they, like, threw their kid to, like, grandma's, they're like, here, we don't need you for this plot right now, and so, Amanda Seyfried gets, you know, given, like, a sedative and all that stuff, and then the dude kills her with an axe, which again is like the full on like they're like, okay, we're throwing a bunch of shit. Oh, let's throw Amityville in there because this never been done before. You know, kills her with an axe. Oh, and then like leaves a letter to the younger teen boy, like, watch the kid, da da da, but don't, you know, don't disturb Amanda Seyfried. She's tired, yada yada. Like pretty much like don't go upstairs. So once the little girl like falls asleep for a nap, you could just leave for the day. And it's like, okay. So, you know, he's a good kid. He listens and he did the thing. And then freaking Sleazy Dennis comes home and like discovers her body. It's like, oh my god, she died. Oh, also, oh my god, also, you learn that, okay, so initially it's also like the husband is also an artist, but then like he decided to stick with writing more, which is also like, again, there were parts when I was watching this movie I was like, rah, you know, because it's like I was a former visual artist, but now I'm going to do more like writing and stuff, which again is fine, do you. But then there are times where like in his classes that he teaches, he would bring up like art. It felt like an art history class where he'd bring up slides of art and then like talk about that. I was like, what kind of class? Like what? Anyway, so you learn that obviously he was an artist. Da 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 da. He's like, you know, it's more Amanda Seyfried's thing to do the visual art. I do writing. Fuck it, whatever. So then, there were like these paintings that he hung in his office. You learn that those paintings were actually his cousin, and his cousin died in like a boat accident, big quotes, kind of thing. And somehow, like, he took his cousin's identity. So he's not actually himself, you know. And Amanda Seyfried never knew about it. And of course, you know, she learned about it, and it was like, you know, that kind of stuff. And so he ends up going on a boat with the guy from his school that was like, hey, we checked on your recommendation letter, you lying. And he goes on a boat and boop, you know, bye for that. And then, anyway, you know, oh my god, my wife Amanda Seyfried's dead, da da da, what do I do? All that stuff. He goes back on a boat, I think the same boat. Again, it doesn't matter. And it becomes like, and it like, it starts to look like one of those like paintings from the Met. And then like, you know, the ground opens up and swallows him up. Symbolism, I guess, you know. And then the movie ends with like the scene from the like the water like into a still of the painting, and then it zooms out from the painting. BT dubs, very close to what I did for my video project, which mine was zooming in on the picture on the painting and then it becoming my video. I was like, like when that happened I was like, okay, did the person who made this movie go to school with me? I mean, actually, you know what, let me look that up. Like, did they go to school? I actually did not really look that up. Like, did they fucking go to school with me? Because, I mean, we're at the age where we could probably be making our own shit right now. Things seen and heard. Let's see, who wrote this? Could you imagine if I then look at the fucking director and I'd be like, oh my god, this is so-and-so. I don't know who you are. Okay, no, you're way too old to have gone to school with me. All right, and then this guy, no, you're both way too old to have gone to school. Okay, so okay, never mind. Anyway, it's a terrible movie. Yeah, so then it ends literally with that, with like the husband, you know, I guess gets consumed by the world, and then, you know, still frame into the oil painting, zoom out to the full painting at the Met. The end. And I swear, I sat there just staring at the screen, thinking there was gonna somehow be something else, like during the credits, like it'll just do that, you know, that thing in horror movies where it'll be the credits and it'll go like that and it'll show something, you know. I don't know why I thought that was gonna happen, so I just sat there like, and then when it does like the scrolling credits, I was like, oh, okay, we are done. You know, I looked at the taskbar to see if there's any like Easter eggs. Again, I don't know why I was expecting a little bit more with this movie. Why? But yeah, that was things seen and heard. Yeah, that was not worth it. Yeah, like, of course I only, you know, watched it because, you know, it was on Netflix. Okay, come on, computer, what are you doing? Okay, yes. Anyway, but yeah, things seen and heard. That it happened. Things were seen and heard. It's not good. It is not good. It's we're halfway through the year and this is at the bottom. This is like smack dab at the bottom. Anyway, yes. Blah.